everybody. Sorry that took a few minutes. My computer was in need of an update, apparently. And I'm not sure how that happened so quickly because it was just last week that we went live. So, sorry about the delay, and sorry if you caught the first live video and I made you a little bit motion sick because I was definitely spinning my phone around trying to get things lined up like they were supposed to. So, hope everybody has had a good week so far. It is Thursday, so we are on the back half of the week and almost to the weekend, which is always good and exciting. So that is great. We are doing this kind of like a Q&A. So any questions that you guys might have, y'all just feel free to put those in the comment section, and I will do my best, like I said, to answer any of those questions that you have, if they're coronavirus related or maybe something else. Then feel free to put those there, and I will do my best to answer, like we said. So a couple of things that I was just going to touch on are a few of my kind of opinions on how we're going into the next few weeks and as things continue. So one of those things that I just want to give an update to everyone about are ways to go about seeing your doctor and get your needed medical care. That's definitely something that none of us want you to go without, and there, like I mentioned last week, are a lot of different ways that we can deliver care to you now. So a lot of that is through the computer screen like we're doing right now. And it actually works better than I thought it would. I had a lot of hesitation about it to begin with, but it's actually been fun. I kind of get to see a little bit more of my patients' lives and connect with them on a different level, and that's been really enjoyable and fun to do. So it does work for most everything, but rest assured that if there is something that we need to see you in the clinic for, and that is necessary, we can certainly do that in a safe manner. And I think pretty much across the board, that is something that every doctor, at least in our area and the state, is offering. I will say that it is important to at least call ahead and check to see, whatever doctor's office you're using is probably going to have potentially a little bit different policy or a little bit different way of doing things than the next. And so that's important to always call ahead and just be sure kind of what their instructions are for you. So that's a really helpful thing to do, is to always call ahead and just know that we're all here for you. The kind of rules and recommendations on all of that are that we at least continue to use these telehealth platforms for most people at least through the end of May. That is something especially for Medicare patients, which is, that potentially kind of riskier group of people, being 65 and over for most of them. That we have kind of permission to do that for a little bit longer. So we don't really know what the endpoint on that is at this point, but that is something that we anticipate we'll probably be able to offer longer than through the end of this month, or maybe even next month. And some of that varies by what state you live in. Some of that varies by what insurance carrier you have. And so those are things that can always be different depending on your circumstance and where you are, but certainly something to look into as an option. The other thing that I wanted to touch on, and this is maybe a little bit more of a touchier subject or something that people may have more questions on, is what to do as we are kind of starting to see things open back up and get back to kind of something that resembles the normal that we had before this all started. I think the biggest point is that I don't think we're going to be at a true, normal or normal as we knew it for a long time, or potentially maybe even ever. So that is one thing to keep in mind. I think everyone should still continue to be cautious. Thankfully, especially in our area, our disease activity has flattened, if we use that term, but we really want to make sure that we keep that activity level flat. So, it is still very important when you're going out and about, in my opinion, to follow those recommendations from our state health department leaders, and they are recommending that we continue to distance as well as we can, continue to use your good hand hygiene, and continue to wear your mask when you go out into public places, especially places that are, ones that we frequent often, like the grocery store. One question that comes up, especially here in our area, is whether or not you need to wear your mask when you go to to a restaurant. And that's something that's not necessarily required. But in my opinion, I think a good idea to do. Obviously, you can't eat with your mask on, so no one's asking you to do that. But I think certainly while you're waiting on your food, or if you have to get up and go to the restroom, those areas are going to be much more frequently populated by other people. So it's not a bad idea to continue to use that as a practice. One thing people may say in response to that is that, most people are not really getting all that sick, or don't we want people to get it so that we can develop that herd immunity? And there's going to be pros and cons to both sides of that question, or that argument, as to how much we really should continue to do. And it's a tough question to answer. And sometimes my opinion changes on that, on a daily basis, just depending on how things are going. I think the most important thing, to keep in mind as we go through this as a community and as a nation and a state as a whole, is that we have to think about everyone else. This is not just about us. I might be relatively healthy, and hopefully if I end up getting coronavirus, I may not even know it. But I'm not just thinking about myself. I'm thinking about my family members that I may be around. I certainly don't want to expose my patients who may be in higher risk groups and may be more likely to develop more significant problem from the disease, or even die from the virus. And so you really have to think about other people, and that can be very important, because we are definitely encouraging those who are older or immunocompromised, or who have serious health conditions, to continue to kind of shelter in place and stay at home. But I think we need to understand that's been difficult for all of us to do for as long as we have had to do it, and it's going to continue to be difficult for those people. So I think it is important to keep that in mind, and we should continue to do our best to lessen that risk for those people that they may not have an option. If they're immunocompromised, they may live by themselves. They may not have that much support that someone could bring them, something. So I think it's really important when we are going out and about, that we do still continue to keep that in mind, and do everything that we can to try and lessen, risks for those people in that population especially. So we don't have too many questions. I haven't seen any come through yet. I'm assuming I'm not too technologically challenged to see that. So that may be because I was a little bit behind getting started, which I hate. But certainly I hope some of that information was helpful, and maybe gives you guys a little bit of comfort, depending on kind of how you feel about things, and what you're thinking about doing as we move forward in all of this together. I will certainly try to give you guys as much information and advice as I can, and just keep in mind all of this stuff is kind of my opinion based on the recommendations that I think I'm getting from the best sources. So that is one caveat to note, but I hope that it is at least somewhat helpful. So I will see you guys again maybe soon, and I hope you all have a really good weekend and keep taking care of yourselves out there.